York to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Is in the building. One time for Charles Oakley. Hand me that new book. What's it called?
The Last Enforcer.
Here we go. Let me see
It
it.
should have been the only one.
The only enforcer.
That's right.
Wait, is that what you wanted to call it?
I did, but we wanted to just, make it more plain for everybody that can, say, okay, not being cocky. So we just made it just The Last Enforcer.
And you say that because?
With The Last Enforcer?
Yeah.
I mean, play with force. A lot of my life coming up was about, enforcing things, sticking up for people. I remember in Chicago, Eddie and Tyson came in the league. Guy was trying to, bully them just because he was young. I had to get in there like, don't do that. These guys young, they learn. I can see if the guy was like 8-10 years in the league. He was just second year in the league. But he just felt like, these guys, they my rooks, this and that. So I had to get out that straight. But
You protected Jordan? You were Jordan's enforcer?
been Jordan, but in this book, it's playing a lot about me helping people like when someone trying to take advantage of. So my thing is, I would just try to be a big brother.
One thing that's interesting about Charles' life, Ebro, I was reading this. There's another book by Chris Herring right now about the Knicks. I'm sure people keep bringing it up, and people love it. Blood in the Garden. So there's two great Knicks books now for people to read.
Right. 2 for
About
1.
the only thing great about the Knicks.
Right. It's history. It's history if you want to live the 90s.
Right.
No, but one thing I found interesting in that book is that your high school basketball coach said you weren't initially physical, and he forced you to play football. You weren't initially a contact-loving guy.
I think they got that wrong.
Really? So you don't think that's true?
Because when I came up in Cleveland, where I grew up at, me and guys, we was always getting in fights on the blocks. I played Pee Wee football, and I was playing football, and I didn't play basketball until like the 9th grade. Really got into it, but I was playing football from Pee Wee all the way up to high school. So that was the wrong quote.
That part was already.
Yeah,
so you already. But did the football? Did it help?
Physical was there because my grandfather. I was physical at an early age. So I know a lot of people might say a lot of things, but I can't let that go.
Okay, I respect that.
So The Last Enforcer says to me, this is an indictment of how soft the league is right now. Also,
It changed, yeah.
And so do you agree with the sentiment that
No
the game
doubt.
is soft?
The game is softer. I said softer. Now when he
Softer.
says soft, it's softer. So the challenge is for softer is just like you don't see power forward playing the power forward. You don't see them like clogging the middle like I did, diving for loose balls. I did all this stuff. Take charge, didn't worry about the body. The body's still great now. You think, that back then, like, wow, this guy be breaking down. Now I'm getting stronger. I took care of myself. I played the role. I played the position like you're supposed to. They said power forward. You play with force.
Yep.
You play with power, and that's what I did.
In the book, there's, because I went looking for it right away. I don't know how often you listen to the program, but for many years, Knicks fans don't like me because I feel like Knicks fans are getting played. A team that sells out every night in the biggest media market in the world can't guarantee a playoff berth year after year. That's problematic, and I think that's an indictment of not the fans.
Right. Management.
Of how the business is being managed. And then you hear throughout the league that people don't want to come play for the Knicks, whether they blame it on the media, they blame it on this, they blame it on that. I think it's ownership. So I went, as soon as the book came, and Rosenberg had the book in his hand, I said, is there a chapter about Dolan? And there's a chapter called The Owner.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the day we saw you get
Escorted.
Yes.
dragged. I say dragged.
Like a Rodney King incident.
Out of the Garden, and I was on this box reminding everyone that is not how you treat individuals who represent your franchise to the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No matter what's going on, you don't allow that to happen. And why would someone want to come play for this team if that's how they treat their legends?
Preach. I'll be the deacon.
Yeah.
So clearly you agree, but in this book you get a little bit deeper into what some of the undercurrent in this relationship with Dolan and you might be.
Yes. It's a sad situation. For I played here for a whole decade, and I think that I gave it all every time I went to the court, and come to a game and something like this occurs in a live televised game, and the owner sent 4 rows in front of me. he was ahead. He sent them guys back there. He don't like me. I don't know why. Didn't shortchange him.
I think it's because you agree with the things I'm saying, 'cause they don't
I was
like me
underpaid playing here. I didn't complain about money or nothing. I did it for the fans, the love of the game, because I know how this city get down with their sports and what they love when someone can come out and play with heart and effort every night. And that's why I try to present myself for my whole career. But in the book, we go in with the owner. He's a control freak. He don't like no one to go against him. He just want always be right, and that's wrong. What he did was wrong, and hope that the court one day realize that he was wrong, and we can go on with life. And one day the fans might see me back in the Garden. I love the fans because they always cheer for me, ups and downs. So
it's such a hard, and that you're so beloved. I mean, listen, everyone loves that team.
Yeah.
But Charles, I would argue you may be the most you may be the most beloved player on that team because you represented the New York attitude on the floor.
My thing, on the court, off the court, I really love the fan. When I see him, I try to appreciate him. I'm trying to picture autograph. I went to different restaurants just to show him, hey, I love the city. I'm glad you brought me to the city. I want to get this city something they ain't have. I think that when I bring the force with me, and we changed the whole dynamic of the team or the whole franchise.
Is there anything that they could do that to fix this? Not that I think they will, but is there anything they could do to fix this?
They said in a car ain't but one spare, so I still got another flat. I got to blow out in the front and back, so we got to wait and see what happens.
So this is still it's a court.
It's a court, but we try to come to them, to McMahon, and he's an arrogant guy. He don't want to do this, do that because he got a lot of money. So we're going to see. I told him, hey, I'm going to just wait it out. My lawyer, we still fighting. But, I try not to talk about him too much because, he's the type of guy that he don't like people. He don't, when that happened, he brought in like 15 guys to sit court sides. That's a sign of guilt. He was wrong. 15 guys sit court side. I didn't like a lot of things of what happened. But some of the guys, like Bernard King, this guy made him turn off his Twitter account. This guy, he's a Hall of Famer. He won't retire his jersey. So I gave Bernard the business when I seen him. And I said, you're a legend, but you was dead wrong for coming to sit beside that man that day after that happened, that Sunday at the game. He said, well, my wife want to go to the game. I said, they got a lot of home games. I mean, that was a time for us to stand together. Don't make him look good. That's what he did.
Did you feel that any players really did stick with you, other former Knicks?
No.
Nobody reached out to you.
Not like I've been protecting him for 10 years like a Patrick Ewing. He didn't say nothing. He should have called a press conference. Like, no, Oak was my guy. He had my back. This is wrong. I'm standing up for Oak. I didn't get none of that.
Well, then a few months later, Ewing, was it a year?
3.5 years later.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Really, I could have been in jail doing 10 years.
Well, it was Ewing also was walking through the Garden and got jammed up over
He's not having his pass.
A pass.
Yeah, but that was more of like a show. It wasn't nothing.
But whereas you were actually, as you see it, assaulted to some degree.
Oh, assaulted. I was carried out with handcuffs. They put cuffs on me in the back. I went to the precinct.
And then you got smeared, too. And then it was Charles is drunk.
Oh, yeah.
That came after
But
that.
I'm saying he went on a rage it was a train coming. He told the train guy, speed up, because he was trying to just, damage my whole, career of what I put in the Garden with people who saw me sweat and tears. Oh, man.
Let's talk about something positive.
Yeah. Let's go to this book. This book, I'm bringing people back. Oh. This book is something
Rosenberg,
special.
I want you to read the first line.
This is great. This is. I'm gonna sell you some books right here, Charles. This is gonna sell books for you, and I'm gonna read it beautifully for you. This is what you get in The Last Enforcer. Chapter 1: Knocking out a jackass. I did not punch Charles Oakley. Do you need me to repeat
Charles Barkley?
I'm sorry, Charles Oakley. You are Charles Oakley. I did not punch Charles Barkley. Do you need me to repeat that? I will if it means people will stop spreading lies about me. Enough is enough. I'm going to set the record straight. Because for more than 20 years, that rumor, the one of me allegedly punching Barkley before an important NBA Players Associated meeting in 1999, has been told over and over, to the point that it's become something of an urban legend. But the story is false. So for the last time, I did not punch Charles Barkley. I did, however, slap the shit out of him. That's how you start.
Hey, you got to bring the fire. Hey,
Did that story annoy you? Did it start to annoy you? Does it come up too often? And did you and Barkley ever make good in any way or no?
I mean, I've seen him many times. You know, like I said, if I walk in a place, I'm going to have a seat. If he walk in, he know I'm there. He's not going to feel comfortable.
So it's not
because he
good.
was wrong, and you know, I did do it. You know, and I just had a seat and went on with the meeting.
What was and obviously this is in the book, but what was the beef over with you and Charles?
He had mentioned something. You know, it was a lockout, just talking. He liked to just talk, but and I said, no one you say anything about anybody's name begin with a C, Chuck, Charlie, whoever. You know, about in New York, I'm gonna let you know. You know, so he had said something, and we had a lockout, and everybody was, you know, 200 or 300 guys meeting, trying to get, you know, things straightened out. And I walked in, and I seen him. I just went straight to him. I said, "You said what?"
Open hand.
Yeah.
Open. Well,
Yeah.
And then what happened?
I just said, "Ain't nothing happened." I mean, he didn't want none of that problem. He didn't want that problem. And he's now he on TNT hiding behind a lot of glass and security, so he talking more, but he ain't gonna mention my name.
do you consider Charles to be a great player?
Oh, definitely. He's a top 20, 25
Yeah.
player. I mean, he was special what he did. He like Kareem. He was, you know, when Kareem had the hook, nobody never could get the hook, but he was just a 6'5" guy, athletic, just he had a motor. You know, I gave him that, but on the other side, I'm giving him nothing.
Tell us about what was your relationship like? Jordan wrote the foreword, so
yeah.
obviously you and Michael are close. But what was that relationship like at the beginning, and how did you realize right away that this guy is about to be the greatest?
I mean, I can tell by practice. Yeah, you're right away. But no, I mean, my rookie year, he took me on his wing after we got to, you know, once we got to be tight, we tight. You know, he took me to the All-Star game. As the first time we flew. Out the team to Dallas, you know, we was at Baggage Claim. We did everything ourselves. It was like out there on there because, you know, we used to have trainers and stuff, equipment guys get this stuff. But it was just like learning the ropes. He really was teaching me the ropes. And, you know, I think the next day we got there, we went to a barbershop, got a haircut, went to a soul food restaurant. So we were just kicking it, just me and him. It wasn't no security, all that stuff. So we was growing into the league. But he was already, you know, averaged like 27 points his rookie year. So, you know, he was the man.
And how many years did you get with him before you went to New York?
3.
Were you bummed to leave that situation or happy to go
No
to New York?
control. When it's something like they have no control. Why get mad? I'm coming to New York. They named it twice. New York. So I feel like it's gonna be bigger and better things. You know, Patrick Ewing was the number 1 pick in my draft that year. When we came out. So 3 years, and then I'm back with Patrick, and I thought we was gonna take off and win many championships.
So, Michael Jordan was the thorn in y'all's side.
Yes.
What was that relationship like when you had to put that defense on? When y'all had to put them screws to him?
Well, he was the one that they say he was one of the best mid-range shooters in the game. That's why, because he didn't come to the paint often unless he got a breakaway. I mean, yeah, everybody, you know. But hey, he was a tough player. I mean, his craft was great. He worked on his game. He worked harder than anybody ever seen. Play basketball. He put the work in.
Was his trash talk as crazy as people say?
No. He trash talk now a lot. He didn't trash talk back then because you know people put your hands on him. They gonna put their hands. You talking that trash? They ain't gonna wait. Meet you at the bus. In the game. So
And you guys had a few too. I mean, it
Yeah,
wasn't just
I
you.
mean,
You had
that's-
X-Man too.
yeah, X-Man, a few other guys. Otis Thorpe, but guess I mean it happened like that. I think people, you know, we ain't trying to really knock nobody out, but at least they can see like these guys playing physical and they don't like one another. And I think back then they liked it. Like now everybody get along. If I knock this guy down, see, we had a rule when we played New York. You knock somebody down, pick yourself up. Now somebody get knocked down, 3 guys running to pick them up. I mean, you know, let them feel how it feel to be down there so they won't come back into the paint.
So, but you and Jordan was friends through all of that.
Yeah, I mean, we was.
And what were the conversation? What would the conversations be like with you and Jordan as comrades after these heated battles?
I mean, we didn't talk a lot because, you know, I used to hate when they used to beat us. I mean, just keep beating us. I mean, then in the summertime we get together more, especially when I got traded. But, you know, we didn't talk about the game a lot when we talked because, you know, I wasn't gonna just hear him because he can talk trash. The one thing about us, we don't talk too trash to one another because he know you cross the line, I'm gonna let him know. If I cross the line, I'm gonna let him know. So we gotta understand. I do go at him a lot though, because I said so about 5 months ago. He got his own golf course down in Florida, in West Palm. So, I pull up to the golf course, automatic, he's down. He's got, about 20 Ferraris, but one, with that day, it probably was yellow, so he was out front. He the only one can park out front. So, okay, I dropped my golf club, go in. They eating breakfast. So I'm walking in. I'm passing some other people. I didn't see him. He jumped and got on my back. He tried to get me down, so I flipped him. I said, "What is you doing?" And he said, "Oh, you still got it." I said, "If I'm the bodyguard,
this is recent?
Yeah,
5 months ago.
Yeah, if you jump on my back and I look weak, how can I protect you?" I did him like this, and so I walk away. He did it again. I flipped him again. So he look up. It's like about 20 people eating breakfast. And you eating breakfast, you look, and then he look at them, they start back eating. He said, "Ain't nobody gonna help me?" He started back eating. So it was crazy, though. We still do crazy things, but that's my guy, though.
Yeah.
He was there for me when that happened in New York. He was there, but we do go at it. He do listen to me. I give people that, tell people that he do listen to me. He don't listen to a lot of people.
Right. I mean,
Wow,
he's had a lot of success, so
Yeah,
I'm sure he ain't listening to a lot of people. Yeah. When you look at the league right now, as a fan of the sport,
right,
what's one of your biggest frustrations?
Guys not taking care of the ball. Guys not. Well, I'm gonna give you three. Guys, so many threes, free throws and turnovers. And it used to be, you had 2 turnovers or you can make free throws. You ain't playing the last 2-3 minutes of the game because every game went down to the wire. You got guys missing 8-9 free throws, and it's okay with teams. You got guys get 6-7 turnovers. It's okay. Not when you're losing by 2 or 3 points. That's 3 or 4 possessions. Them turnovers. So I just don't like that. But it's a new day and time. They shooting threes. You don't see the passion for the game no more. You get a finger. They sit out a month. It's just a different ball game.
What do you think about the load management?
It ain't that much load management no more. It seems like last year or so. But
Yeah, I guess it's not as bad as
it
the
ain't
last
bad
year.
as it was, but I don't know how. The guys getting hurt so much now, and not that much contact. So, I mean, they're not taking care of their body for training, And LeBron, one of the best guys in the league, was playing so long, and nagging injuries coming in, but he didn't put so much time in. But
LeBron's physicality and health and the way he kept his body together is remarkable.
Saying, to play like that, like I said, I played 18 and a half years, and you take care of your body going to take care of you. You don't put nothing in, you can't get nothing out. Like, you go to the bank, if you ain't got no money, then why are you going to the bank? Mm-hmm. So,
you think LeBron would have fared well in the 90s?
LeBron would have fared well. It was a little more difficult, but, man said, back then, everybody was 6'9", 6'8", LeBron's size, so it was a little more tougher for him. He wouldn't, because they didn't give up a lot of, you just couldn't drive to the baskets back then. You had to, like a police, trying to give you the speed ticket. You got to look around and make sure ain't nobody dying there. So
right. Not as easy to coast in.
But that's my guy. But he's just, what he do off the court is, it's amazing. He's probably the only ball player to be a billionaire while he's still playing sports. He is a billionaire, so
when you look at a scenario like what's going on with Ben Simmons and the Sixers, and Ben Simmons, what do you think of that as a?
Everybody want to blame Doc Rivers, and I'm blaming Ben Simmons, and I'm blaming Philadelphia. You paid this guy some money and know he couldn't shoot. So now you got a problem. You are not going to get value for him when you're on the trade. So you stuck with him. But I think Ben should be a man like, hey, they paid me almost $200 million to play this game, to make my team better. They're still playing well right now. But you for to be a main piece of this team, and you at home, he cannot play back for Philly. They're going to have to trade him. Because no fans going to eat him up.
That's right.
They're going to eat him up.
At this point, and by the way, they could compete for a championship without him. Imagine if they had him.
Yeah, right. But they go, like I said, they finna get about 6% on the dollar.
Well, and to your I guess acknowledgement, people like Dolan can't, and people not being able to take critique. Mm-hmm. This is all because Ben Simmons passed when he should have made a layup. That's kind of where it started, right?
Well,
in the playoffs.
Yeah, he should have took the shot. The Philly fans just so tough. I mean, you do something. I mean, the fans gonna come out and cheer, give you all this and that. But when you start saying stuff about the fans and worry about what's going on in the crowd, you done.
Were the Philly fans always crazy?
Always crazy. I mean, they think they're crazy now. They always been crazy. But see, my thing, we didn't really pay attention to the fans because you can get sidetracked. It'd be guys behind a chalkboard writing down stuff and timeout. I mean, you head towards the bench, so you ain't gonna walk your head down to the bench. You gonna see stuff. It was a guy in D.C., a guy in Detroit talking about their parents. I mean, it was wild. It was real crazy.
Oh, I remember the dude in D.C.
Yeah, he was a lawyer.
Robin Ficker.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the guy in Detroit. I mean, they do stuff. I mean, my thing is, when you start worrying about the fans, you off track anyway. You hurting your team because fans gonna set something. They paying their money. They got a couple of drinks in them. They getting riled up. They probably get a couple of drinks before they get there. So, good luck.
Listen, the new book. Where you
The
have
Last
a book.
Enforcer, man.
The Last Enforcer.
Hey, this book, I'm telling you, it's a game changer. It's like a guy averaged 5 points the next year, or he averaged 25. It's a game changer. It's in this book.
What did you you look in great shape.
Yeah.
I think you said you was about to be 60 years old.
Yep. This December.
I can't believe that.
Talk about that on a personal. Like, what are you doing every day, every week? Like, how are you staying healthy?
Okay, first of all, when I play ball, most people take months off. Like every year after the season, I probably took 10 days off. Because my thing, your body, like I said, you only get out what you put in. But it's just something that I always believe in. You got to take care of your body because, body like the tires on your car. You got to make sure they all balanced, the air in the right place. And just a hard worker, I don't do crazy stuff in the gym. Maybe an hour, 5 days a week. I walk outside, spin, yoga, some massages. I mean, do what you can. Know what you eat. Sometimes if I eat a lot, I work out longer. If I don't eat that much, I work out less. So,
So for you, it's about staying active.
Active, yep. And, don't abuse your body.
When we all know famously when you guys lost to the Rockets,
yes.
It was a rough night for Starks. And that's the one thing people talk about a lot was Starks' rough night, and him staying in the game. Do you recall what he was like after that? And did you guys talk about it with him when he had that experience?
Never talked about it. And I tell a lot of people during the course of a game, we get stat sheets, right? You got 3 assistant coaches and a head coach, and you got other guys behind the bench keeping up with numbers. In today's game, they got stat sheets after every time out on the bench. Players looking at stat sheets. We didn't play like that.
You didn't.
So we didn't. So as player on the court, we didn't know what was going on, but the coaches should have known what was going on. So no, I didn't blame John. We go down, we fight, we go down together. As long as you fighting with me, I'm going down with you. And
shoot or shoot.
It was just bad. It happened at a time that we had a chance to win a championship, but things do happen. I think that we left. We had a chance to get back. We left a couple of chances out there, but that's the only thing I hate in New York. The fans didn't get in my era, my 10 years in New York, get one championship. You're supposed to win 1 out of 10.
And you guys were in the playoffs the whole decade.
Yeah. Yep.
But listen, it may not be a ring, but you guys are the best memory that Knicks fans have. I mean, we're talking 1973 was the last championship.
Yeah, well, we haven't got a ring in my era, the era after me. So this book is my Hall of Fame, my ring, and my love, my wife over there. But it's just this book. It's like it's something special.
There's a lot of great conversation about it. I heard your interview with Bill Simmons talking about it as well, and you said that you did an interview with him a few years ago, and is that really what started the interest for you in writing a book? Is when people responded so well to that interview?
Yeah, but I think most of my interviews, over my whole career, with the press and stuff, people ask me to do interviews here and there, and then like all these podcasts and stuff. The consistency, I've been always willing to do it, and people they like what I say. They say I'm one of the guys who tell the truth. And, don't worry about what's going to happen. I mean, I tell everybody what I said something, trust me, I know 99 to 100% is true.
Do you feel, This is my first time meeting you. I've seen you out before at games. Of course, you're a legend. People see, they go, oh, Oak's here, whatever. I'm not going to lie. Talking to you, you're such a cool, regular dude. You are an intimidating presence in public. Do you feel that? Like, do you get the sense that people see you as an intimidating presence in person?
Maybe so. I don't smile a lot. I'll just be myself. I'm a nice guy, though, but like you said.
I always see you laughing. I disagree. I always see you laughing. Every time I see you in public somewhere, you
that's good. That's good then. I mean,
I'm
I'm in New York. You got to smile, but I'm saying is I don't smile. A lot of people say, "Why you don't smile no more? You're not attractive. You're not approachable." I said, I mean, the only way you get to know a person, you still got to talk to them. That's so right. Say something I might like. If you don't say nothing I don't like, I might not say nothing back to you.
I have to ask you a personal question about my own life.
Good.
I grew up in Chevy Chase, Maryland.
Okay, definitely know where that is.
So, in my neighborhood, truth be told, there was really only one black family.
The Williams family.
The Williams family. And the rumor was they was your cousin.
Yeah, that's my man. W had the place down on 14 and George Avenue, right across from where Mark Burns had a club, and he had a spot across the street.
So is it true? Is it true that you would come to the neighborhood and have dinner at that house?
No, I used to cook at their house too.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. That corner house in the cul-de-sac.
Rosenberg's waited his entire life to substantiate this claim.
Yes, the Williams family, they still live there. But,
they still live there.
But Big W passed like 2 years ago, and his son Warren.
His son Warren Warren was like 7 years older than me. He was a baller too.
He played a little ball, yeah.
The rumor when we were kids was that one day, you can tell me, you can ruin this rumor for the neighborhood.
James Brown, the commentator, lived on the other block.
And there was a rumor that one day you brought Jordan to the Williams house. True story or neighborhood rumor?
Probably more to the club.
To the club, not to the house.
I brought a couple guys over there. It wasn't Jordan, though.
Wow. Yeah. All right, wow. The Williams family. It's real. It's real.
That's dope.
Speaking of those Jordan Bulls, by the way, what did you think of the documentary?
The Last Dance?
Yeah,
The Last Dance.
That's what was going to be
The Last Dance. It was juicy. I think that a lot of people's feelings got hurt.
Rightfully so, or
Mike didn't hold back. Mike had his glass and his legs were crossed with a cigar. He was in his comfort zone. But I think that Dennis got too much action in there. I think Scottie felt like he was, he wasn't beloved in the book, in The Last Dance. I mean, and.
What about the Krause? What about the treatment of Krause? Was it fair?
They did my man Krause. No, it wasn't fair. I told Mike. It's in my book. I mentioned, him and Scottie. I know both of them had a contract issue. Mike didn't talk about his. Well, he had the same. They offered Mike 7 years, 21. Scottie said Mike took it. Scottie was fueled by it because he wanted to get out.
Mm-hmm.
He signed it, but Jerry Reinsdorf is the owner of the Bulls. If you know Jerry Reinsdorf, he's not doing no deals. So either take it or leave it. Both of them signed it. Mike couldn't renew his. Scottie couldn't renew his. But Jerry was the guy who drafted me and gave me a chance coming from historic black college, and then I get drafted and I go top 10. I go in front of a lot of guys from the big schools.
Mm-hmm.
But Jerry was my guy. He traded me. He brought me back. But I ride with Jerry.
That's interesting to hear. Because when you watch it, Ebro, remember, it was hard. You could tell he did some stuff that was questionable, but they crushed him so bad in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think to put something together, somebody had to have a vision. You playing basketball. You're not making a trade. You're not seeing this piece go with that piece. When they traded for me for Cartwright, that was a chess play because Cartwright played with Patrick for 2 or 3 years. He knew Patrick moves. So they got somebody that can counteract with Patrick, knowing him in the game, push him off the block, you got him. And that's what Cartwright did.
So what did Jordan say when you challenged him on the way Krause was framed in the
He ain't said nothing.
He agreed?
I mean, he ain't said nothing. That's my guy. I mean, he know I'm gonna speak. Hey, he got his opinion, I got my opinion. I mean, we two grown men.
And are you watching or have you paid attention to how Scottie is kind of handled? I mean, it feels like it's been a bad cycle for Scottie.
Yeah. So I talked to Scottie. He came out in the bourbon. I went to his bourbon party in Chicago. We had a great time. Scottie played golf. We played golf, and he just feel like he wasn't. They didn't dress him in the right way that he felt by playing with Mike for winning 6 rings, and he felt like he was more. They didn't pump him up; they let him down, And, things happen. But I still think Mike and Scottie thing is something more than basketball. I'm always stick with that because we know a lot of guys who play together, they never like one another, like Kareem and Magic, Cale and Bird. Guys just played together because they had skills and it was a job and they wanted the same thing. They wanted to win. So people can do that. Some people in groups and stuff don't get along.
That's right.
But they perform.
At work, all type of jobs.
Yeah, so it happened.
I don't like none of it.
But, I think Scottie, some things happened with Scottie when he wouldn't go back in the game. He didn't have the surgery, a couple of things. But he felt like he would have been the guy after Mike. But they did have a great career after Mike. They won 57 games the next year. Yeah. But we played them in the playoff. We beat them. That's how we get to the finals, Mike went off and played baseball. And baseball wasn't the thing. He came back 2 years later. But, I talked to both of them. I'm like the cream inside the Oreo cookie. I'm dark, but hey, I hope they can get it together. But deep down inside, Mike always says stuff drive him, and in the way he drive on the highway, he won't let you over. So I don't know if Scottie gonna get back in with him.
Right. That's an interesting way of putting it. Did you you mentioned the Celtics? What was Bird like to play against? You had to D up Larry, right?
Yeah, I take Bird. Bird was quiet. Everybody said Bird. I guess he he couldn't talk to me, so he probably talked to some guy he can talk to. But no, Bird was a solid guy. He played 13 great years, won championship. He was him and Magic era.
And what about Magic?
Magic just fun living guy. He's just I did things with Magic. Magic used to have classes in Hawaii. He used to have weekends in L.A. Magic just liked to have fun.
You mentioned Dennis Rodman earlier. At the time, how did the players react to all of his antics?
No.
What were the conversations like?
I really didn't talk about that. Great rebound. He did love for his team. What he did, dive and cheer them on. I get all that. When you start wearing dresses and acting all crazy, I'm not for that. But
too much attention.
That's how they said. If it's sale, keep selling it.
Well, that's how it was framed too. I remember being young and seeing it and seeing stories about it being framed as a show that Rodman was he was bringing that kind of like a storyline to the league and making a brand for himself. Right. I guess at the moment.
Well,
and you feel like that's a distraction to the game.
I didn't pay attention to him, but. When Chicago picked him up, Detroit let him go. He went to the San Antonio, whatever. He came back to the Bulls. I was surprised because nonsense. But Mike got him together as much as he could. I know if you're in the documentary, they show that Mike had to go to a house and grab him out and bring him to practice. I didn't know he had went to the
WCW
wrestling thing. He did a lot that didn't get out. So. That's why I guess he was trying to promote himself, But like I say, he was a great rebound, and I couldn't do the things he did. Like I say, we played the same position. He was good at it.
You're in a similar lineage of people who played. He didn't play as hard nosed as you. Played really hard though. His game wasn't about scoring. You were a better scorer.
Better scorer.
You could shoot a 17-footer. Not him.
He could, but he acted, but. I don't know.
He was playing a mental game. He was playing.
Yeah, he was out. Yeah, like when him and Karl Malone got into it. If that ever would happen to me, he would.
How was Karl Malone? You had to D him up too.
They say he's the mailman, but he can't deliver mail in the snow, so he's a side man. He was one of them power forwards that can shoot the mid range. See, guys like that who can't help their team in other ways, Like, he wasn't a guy who passed the ball. Like, Stockton passed to him. Like, Patrick, we had to pass to him. Like, them guys is like the guys, not like a sexy guy. The league is about sexy guys. Like, LeBron, Mike, Kobe, Wade, so guys who can do it all.
Do it all.
Yeah. Do it all. But we came out the same. He had a grudge because I got drafted before him. He went to Louisiana. I went to Virginia Union. But he ended up being a better player. I give him that.
He scored a lot. He's one of the great scorers of all time. He wasn't D'ing up like you were.
He had one of the greatest passers, somebody passing to him.
Right. So I give him his props for that, but never scared of him.
As a guy who came to the league through an HBCU, I'm wondering if you're following the stories of some of these top prospects choosing the HBCUs as their avenue. How does that? It must feel great, right?
Yeah, especially what Deion doing.
Yeah.
Getting all these guys, Jackson State and Howard University was getting a top 4 guys coming out to go to Howard. We need more of that. When I went, it wasn't about historic black colleges. It was more like down, but now it's coming more to light because you're getting these other like NFL, NBA guys like Tennessee State got Eddie George coaching.
Right.
And as long as you keep putting guys with names, people gonna follow names. So we keep, Virginia Union, get myself or Terry Davis, Ben to go back. Maybe we'll get back on the track, on the map, because we was on the map for like 15 years.
Right.
But it's good because the big schools always had all the gravy. Now they getting mad because it's spreading out and get opportunities for other colleges to be big. And Deion really, got the blueprint.
Yeah. Have you coached before?
I coached for Charlotte for 2 years.
Well, that's right. Would you coach college? Is that because you just kind of mentioned it for Virginia Union, but is that a path for you to get back in it like that?
Maybe. I'm getting older, and it's hard to recruit when you're old, and young guys want to be around younger people. So,
right.
I think they have a great coach now. So hopefully this year in the CIAA they move it to Baltimore. I'm gonna go up there, and they've been, it ain't what it used to be. When you used to win 25 a game for like 25 years, now you're winning 13 and 13, and so it's a difference. So hope they get back on track.
Charles Oakley, ladies and gentlemen. Good
Man,
to meet
thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
The Last
Appreciate
Enforcer.
it.
Go get the book.
Yeah, man.
You got to get this book.
Support this book, man.